Now, EU enlargement has been on pause for the last couple of years since Jean-Claude Juncker became European Commission President. But in order to make sure that countries in the Western Balkans don't get turned off EU membership altogether, today we saw Federica Mogherini call on the European Council to kick-start accession talks with North Macedonia and Albania as soon as possible. More details in the brief from Brussels.
The Western Balkans lie at a crossroads and the EU wants them to turn towards Brussels. For the second time, the Commission has recommended that Albania and North Macedonia start accession talks with the EU. North Macedonia even changed its name following a long dispute with Greece to win favour with Europe. But in Albania, the decision comes at a time of tensions. The country is struggling with protests over alleged government corruption cases. And in the aftermath of an incident between Kosovo and Serbia, the EU called for the prospect of EU membership to be used wisely.
Well, if it is used in a smart manner today, we can encourage these cooperative trends and consolidate them and make this change irreversible. If we miss this opportunity, I see the risk of the dark forces of the past coming back in terms of confrontation, even of conflict.
But not all EU countries believe now is the time for welcoming new members. France, backed by the Netherlands, say the bloc must first reform itself. But EU diplomats say Paris is mainly concerned about anti-immigrant sentiment back home.
The size of the population is not any kind of threat to European economies or to European stability. To the contrary, the real threat to European stability is to keep this region without a stable future. That is the threat that it represents, and it is. We know the reluctance in France, the reluctance in the Netherlands is very much linked to domestic politics.
The professor, who's lived for years in the Balkans, also stressed the risk of Russia's interference in the region.
We know that Russia is highly active in Bosnia's Republika Srpska and in Serbia, attempting to present itself as an alternative, attempting above all to thwart the policy of the West, which is to the Euro-Atlantic integration of the Balkans. And it is critical to counter that by continuing to reinforce the message that if these countries make the required reforms, and they must make the required reforms, then they do indeed have the European future in their path.
EU heads of state and government will be meeting in June to discuss what to do.